Happy Sunday. So, today I wanted to talk to you about a little message that I heard a few weeks ago by Pastor Joel Abell at Hillsong in Sydney. The message that he shared was about basically soul food, nourishing your soul. 3 John 2 says that I pray that you would prosper even as your soul prospers. Now, often when people read this, they think it's to do with money, and it does partially have to do with being healthy financially. But more than anything, what I draw from this scripture is that you should prosper, you should do well, even as your soul prospers. So I'm just basically repeating the verse. But what am I saying? So even as your soul prospers, so soul prospering, what does that actually mean? Well, prospering your soul is making sure that your spiritual and your emotional needs are being met. Spirituality, to me, obviously, is a relationship with Jesus. I pray to him. I would speak to him. I read the Bible to learn more about him. I try to live my life in such a way that would point to him in a positive way, and it gives me a lot of joy. It gives me a lot of comfort and security. But spirituality outside of Christianity, if that isn't your bag, is defined as a connection to something outside of or beyond yourself, and not just an airy-fairy connection or a nod to tap in like butter on his belly every time you go past, but a legitimate connection with an emotional tie. Doesn't mean you need to be like gushing about something, but there needs to be something beyond yourself that you're connected to or aspiring to. If you're an atheist or an agnostic, maybe it wouldn't be God, but what is it? What is the drive? What is the motivator? Ultimately, what is the vision? Like I said, for me, it's Jesus. In Proverbs 29:18, it says, without vision, people perish, which I think is fundamentally true. Without this vision, without this sort of deep sense of substance that underpins us, it's very hard to do well. Now, yeah, we can be super wealthy, we can have great relationships, we can be super healthy without any of that stuff underneath. But it can, to a degree, come to a point where all of those pursuits can be meaningless unless you're well within yourself. You can't be the best version of yourself for your partner unless you're well yourself. You can drive an awesome car, but if you're driving that car and you're sobbing at the wheel because you're actually really unfulfilled, then yeah, it's a nice to have, but it's actually not going to give you fulfillment, I suppose. So when 3 John 2 talks about, I pray that you would prosper even as your soul prospers, what it's saying is that as you invest into yourself, your betterment, your personal development, your emotional well-being, your spirituality, your connection to something beyond you, whatever that may be, the other areas of your life will be impacted. So, but it's not cause and effect, right? It's not that, oh, well, if if you love Jesus, then your life will be turned into this wonderful Disney-esque, like skipping through the meadows sort of scenario. That isn't the case, because, Christians, like other groups, are persecuted. Christians go through struggles. Christians go through strives. I don't think it's any use to deny the struggle that you go through. But the fact is that you know that you have a hope, you have a substance that you lean on. But ultimately, what it does is when you have that vision, when you have a connection to something outside of yourself, it colours everything else. It influences everything else and enhances it. So the fact that I love Jesus and know that I'm loved and affirmed by him helps me to love other people, including a significant other, in such a way that I hope they would feel the same from me, because I feel affirmed. I feel concrete in that. Don't get me wrong, I get shaky. I've got past issues I have to work through, nervousness and anxiety, but I do have a deep-centered sense of connection to something outside of myself, and that's an anchor. It also affects my health, because I know that I have a God that loves me. I really want to do the best for my life, so I'm like, I'm going to make sure that I'm healthy and fit. It affects my finances, because he was a generous God that gave. I want to be able to give. I want to be able to be prosperous and support other people and not be in debt. Debt really gets on my wick, as you've probably seen elsewhere. So what am I trying to say with this big long ramble is that please make sure that you're focusing on your emotional well-being and your spirituality. As Christians, make sure you're focusing on filling yourself with the Word and the life of God and being in a life-giving community. If you're not a Christian, then what is it that you're filling yourself with? Where is that deep sense of fulfillment coming from that's beyond yourself? Not a dependency, but a heart leaning towards that sort of thing, an overall vision about where you're going and what it's all about for you. Now, that doesn't mean you need to come up with your meaning of life by the end of this video, because sometimes your purpose will shift from season to season, but have a purpose, have a vision, have something that you're aspiring to or working towards, because without that, we can stagnate. And if we're not growing, if we're not learning, then ultimately we're like one of those stagnant pools with all the algae on the top. It's not pretty. Yeah, well, I pray that you would prosper even as your soul prospers. Know above all else that you are loved by me in the first instance, as much as God, as much as other people around you, I'm sure. Hopefully this has helped you. Hope you're having a great week, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.